packet tracer tutorial, we're going to show how to set up SSH, so secure shell. Now, what secure shell provides us is the ability to securely log into a router. We want to always be sure that we're doing that in the most secure manner, because we don't want to have passwords and other information like that being traversed in the clear. So to do that, we've got to set up some things on this router. Right now, we're going to use the second floor router, and this router is pretty open. So like I say, if we just look at the do a show run, you'll see that there's no passwords or just type it correctly. Or anything set up in this router. You can say, so like say, no encryption, no passwords. It's pretty open. Only thing that's in here again is just the configuration of the various interfaces. So what we're going to do now is we want to set up some securities within this router. We should always want to do that. We're going to use the most secure is secure shell. And what secure shell is going to use is encryption. It's going to actually use a algorithm, a asymmetric algorithm, RSA, to set up an encryption between the router and the device that's attempting to log into it. Okay, so let's get this started. So we're going to go into the configure mode like we always do. And once we are there, we're going to enable a secret or a password for the router. And for this one, we're going to use for the router capital AIDA 10. That's going to be the password for the router. Okay, so next thing we're going to want to do is create a domain, because this router needs to be on a domain so it knows who it's talking to. A domain name, as well as a username and a password for the SSH link that we're going to establish. So the first thing we'll do is set up the IP domain -name. And we're going to name this domain aida.local. It's a local domain that we're going to establish, as well as set up a username. The username for this, and we're using the sales network. So I'm just going to call it sales, and really you can make up any name you want, sales1. And we give it a password. Now for this password, I'm going to use capital AIDA 20. Be sure you write all your passwords down so you can remember them. All right, so then once we've done that, now we want to generate that crypto key. So we're going to generate an RSA crypto key. Generate. Like I said, we're using the RSA, the Reves Solomon Advis RSA token is going to create. And so what we can do, if we want to use 512 as the bits, good, or we can go up to 1024, which makes it even more secure. Now, the thing to remember, there's always trade-offs, right? The longer the key, the more secure it's going to be, but also the longer the key, the more time it takes to generate that. So it can actually start slowing your network down or slowing down your interchanges. So got to find that happy medium. So we're going to go with 1024. All right. So it has generated a key for us, and now we want to turn on SSH, the protocol SSH. We're going to use a v2 version 2, IP SSH version 2. Okay, we see that's been enabled, and now we want to set up the virtual teletypes, the VTY. That's what these are, virtual teletypes. And this also tells how many connections can be made simultaneously to this switch. So you can control how many people, how many users can log in, what type of transport, and if it's a local or remote type of login. So here we go. Just talking about line VTY 0 _ 4. So that's saying there's actually, it will allow 5 virtual terminals, virtual exchanges from 0 to 4, which will give you actually 5. We could go, if you wanted 16, we could go 0 to 15. That would give you 16. So yeah, so that's adjustable to wherever you like. But that's the kind of the standard that does 5, which is 0 to 4. The transport is going to be input all. Okay, and log in, local logins, accept it, and we finish that. We're gonna exit. Okay, so now we've got everything set up in our router. Now let's see if it works. Okay, what we're going to do, we're going to go up to this sales manager PC, and we're going to establish an SSH connection from the sales manager and log into the second floor router. Let's see how that works out. Go to the command prompt on the sales manager's PC, and so what we're going to do from here is just enable the SSH command, SSH, and you're going to use a -L. Yeah, -L. Type in the name of your username, which is sales1, and the IP address for the interface, 192.168.10.97. And that takes us to a password. Now, the password we're using here is the password, the SSH password, not the router password, but the SSH password, and that was ADA, capital A, 20, AIDA, 20. And there we go. Now we are securely logged into to the router. However, before we can do anything to the router, let's say if we want to try to enable it to go and do some configurations, right? What's going to happen? It's going to ask us for a password because we've secured that router as well. This is where we use the AIDA 10. That was the password we set for that. And there we go. Now we are actually able to do configurations on this router. Like show run. And so, like I say, so if we look at this router, there's the router password. I say that's the actual password. It hashed it to make it a little more secure. This is the for SSH. That's our username, and that's the SSH password. We're using SSH version 2, and the domain name ada.local. So we see everything. Now we're looking in this router, but we actually logged in securely through the Sales Manager PC.